Hello there, friends. My name is Renee and I'm with Third Coast Learning. Today I want to show you how you can integrate a Mailchimp form to collect emails to add to your Mailchimp email list or campaign list or audience list, how you can integrate that to your Facebook page. So let me show you an example. I'm logged into my Mailchimp account here, but let me show you an example of what it is that I'm talking about. So let me just go to, okay. So here is my business page for Third Coast Learning. And what I'm talking about is this email sign up form. And I've just shrunk down my page to make it a little bit smaller so I can capture all of this information to show you. So what I'm talking about is how you create this form that you can share so that you can capture an email list, and this ties directly in to your Mailchimp account. So what I'm doing is collecting information from people. I'm collecting their email address, a little bit. I work with a lot of small businesses, so I want to get some information about their company or organization. And then this is the information really that's relevant to me that I want to capture. And I actually have an automated campaign set up that where someone subscribes to this, it automatically sends them a welcome email. So I'm not really going to cover all that today. I'm just going to cover how you integrate your Mailchimp account to your Facebook account and how you can integrate a form like this to your Facebook page. So I'm going to go back and increase my website image there. Okay, so once you're logged in to your Mailchimp account, I'm going to show you some of the steps that you'll need to make sure, and all of the boxes that are checked, and all of the areas and features and functionalities and settings that have to be in place in order for this to work. And there are some settings that need to be in place both from your Mailchimp account as well as permissions on your Facebook account that you'll need to give. And since I already have this set up, mine's going to look a little bit differently than yours, but I'm going to show you the areas of both accounts where you go in and you can make any of these changes. And if you do have any errors or have any trouble, I'm going to show you where you go in to double check and see if all of these features are enabled so that it can work. So again, once you're logged into your Mailchimp account, you're going to go to your account settings. So under your login area, I want you to drop down to the area that says account and click on that. It's going to overview to what plan you have in place. We're not worried about any of these settings. We're going to go all the way over to integrations, and then you're going to click on that. And once it opens, it's going to show you all of the integrations that you have the ability to add to your pages. So if you'll notice here, they're showing that if you have e-commerce integrations, there's another area where they've changed some of that stuff. So this is primarily just kind of social media, social account integrations, things like that, and some CRM. So right now I only have Google and Facebook enabled. I'm not really a big Twitter on this particular business page or account. So next thing you're going to do is, yours is probably going to be grayed out. So don't worry if it looks a little different from mine again. So click on that. And then I'm just going to go through really quickly to show you what settings you'll want to make sure that are enabled in order for this feature to work. First thing you want to do is, of course, you're going to connect your Facebook account, and it's going to connect as your personal account. And then once that's all approved and functioning, you'll have the ability to go into the pages that you're going to use. So first you'll want to connect and test your connection. And it's going to walk you through of course, you'll need to know your Facebook account information and your login and your passwords and all that. So you'll go through all of that process. And then once you come back here to add your sign up form, you'll make sure that whatever page you want to use, the correct one is selected. And don't worry if it's not showing you my drop down. The way that I record my screen sometimes doesn't let you see features that are directly on that page. But make sure that you do have the correct page highlighted. If you manage multiple pages like I do, just make sure that you have the correct one that you're linking to this particular Mailchimp audience. Next, make sure that you're choosing the correct audience. If you're using the free account, you're probably just going to have the one, but make sure that you have the correct one selected. Next, and this is really important, you want to make sure that you have the use the sign up form tab, that radio button is selected as yes. And just because this has come up, and I know some people are going to have questions, well, what does that mean? We're referring to the tab feature being enabled on your Facebook account. So again, since we're communicating and connecting Mailchimp with Facebook, it's now, when we make this change, now actually is going to edit some of the features on your Facebook page. So it's like we're giving Mailchimp the ability to control some of the features on your actual Facebook business page. Now, I'm pulling this up, but please don't be alarmed that there's this red warning message. You probably will not see this. I actually like that Facebook is now letting us know about features that are changing. Just because this came up, I'm going to just talk about it very briefly because it really has nothing to do with this tutorial, but since it's here, I know some of you may have questions. What this is referring to is a while back, I had requested to have my page verified as a business page. It looks like Facebook is now removing that feature. Again, people visiting my page aren't going to see this. It's only showing this to admins that log in. But just in case any of you had your page verified and you see this, don't worry, no big deal. I like that Facebook is now notifying us through, I guess, this rather alarming alert message, but at least they're letting us know changes that they're making, because before they really never did, they just happened. All right, so back to the tutorial. We're talking about the email sign up tab. So that radio button that I said make sure you have selected, that is going to enable this to appear in your tabs on your page. And believe it or not, when you set up your page, the template that you chose probably determined what tabs are visible here. And even though this isn't part of this tutorial, I do want to go over this really quickly because I know some of you may have questions about this. It always comes up when I do classes on this. So I'm just going to touch on it very briefly to show you how you can edit these tabs. So in order to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to go up here to your menu bar and you're going to go all the way over to settings. Some of you may have never even been in this area before. You probably set up your page and then you never thought about it. But you can actually go in and change a lot of the settings on your page by going to this area. So again, you go to that top menu bar, go to your settings, and then it's going to default to general settings, where this is where you actually publish your page. It's going to show you all this fun stuff right here under the general settings. And then you have all of these areas in your left sidebar where you can make some changes. The area that we're talking about that we are giving by hitting that radio button back there on the Mailchimp account, where we said we're giving it permission to add a tab. If I click on templates and tabs, these are Facebook settings that we just gave Mailchimp the ability to alter or change. So we told Mailchimp, please add the email sign up tab. Now, depending on what your template you selected here under the current template is business, it may or may not have this tab enabled. There are a lot of different templates. I'll just click on this so you can see. There are a lot of different templates, and when you first set up your Facebook page, or if someone else set up that page for you, they may have chosen a different template that may or may not have had that email sign up added. I think most of them actually default to it not, because not very many people use this integration. And I think that I would be remiss if I didn't explain that this integration actually is only visible from someone who's viewing your Facebook page from a computer. For some reason, Facebook has not enabled the functionality for this from a mobile site. I have a feeling that that may have something to do with more with the ability to enable that on Android versus iPhone, I don't know. Maybe it's just not, it's probably not a feature that's being utilized very frequently. So they probably haven't invested a lot of resources to that functionality. But again, we're talking about a pretty complex application feature that they would have to enable for someone to see that from a mobile device. Because we're talking about phones, mobile phones, tablets, all of the variety of such that they basically have to create code for. So just so you know, this feature, if you enable it, people aren't going to see it from a mobile phone. And I share this with you because I myself have invited people to utilize this feature only to know, and I was at a big, giving a big presentation to a big audience, and I actually didn't know that the feature did not appear from a mobile device. I failed to check that. So unfortunately, that didn't happen there. Don't worry though that not that many people are going to see it because again, Facebook users primarily are viewing Facebook from a mobile device. I think the statistic is somewhere between 75 and 85% of people are utilizing on a daily basis Facebook from mobile devices. So don't worry that not very many people are going to see it. I just want you to be aware not to make the same mistake that I did and invite people to find it from their phone because they won't even see it. All that said, though, I want to continue because some of these functionalities are dependent for not just for the sign up forms, but this communication and integration needs to take place if you're going to use some of the other campaigns that Mailchimp has available. So email form or not, if you want to integrate Mailchimp and have the ability to integrate Mailchimp with your Facebook page, then you need to make sure that these features are turned on. Okay, so that is where you would go in and edit the tabs. By the way, you can drag these up or down by clicking on the three bars and you can move the tabs up and down. And that does impact two things: how they appear on the left side of your page and what your viewers see as they're scrolling through your page. They're going to see this information and content that exists on your page. I almost like to think of Facebook kind of now, pages are almost like a little mini version of a website. And when you're changing these things, you're doing something similar to changing web code and how things work and function on your page itself. So it's really nice that Facebook gives us the ability to go in and edit some of these features. But just know that when you change something here, it may affect a lot of things in how people see your site. So back to, that was kind of a little break on how to edit your Facebook page. I know that really wasn't the intention of this tutorial, but because it came up, I want to make sure that I'm covering all bases there. So that is using the form tab. You want to make sure that that is selected as yes and that it does appear. You want to make sure that you're not changing that in your Facebook page settings either. I like to stick with the Facebook form theme. It's set at default. You really don't need to worry too much about these next two boxes. If you don't want it to say email sign up, if you want it to say something else, you can change that here. You want to make sure any changes that you make here are saved. And I do always recommend that you test your connection once you're trying to integrate. If there are, by chance, some issues, I want to direct you now to some areas within Facebook that maybe some settings need to be applied, and I'm just going to show this to you as a method of troubleshooting in case something doesn't work the first time, because I did actually for some reason have a little bit of a hard time connecting and integrating these at first, and I had to go in and learn this the hard way. So I'm going to show you another area of Facebook where some settings occur, and this is different from your page settings. So in order to show you how we get to this next area, and again, you may not even need to worry about this if your integration connects without fail. I wouldn't even worry about this, but just as a little bit of a side note and just in case, I want to show you this. So click on the Facebook home button by clicking on the Facebook icon. This is going to take you to your regular news feed. And then what we're going to do is in your Facebook profile menu, you have some options. We're going to go over to the drop down, and this is where you change your personal profile settings as well as some of your other business settings. So you're going to scroll all the way down to where it says settings here. And then you'll notice that this is the area where you have some of your personal account information, your profile, security, login, all that fun stuff. We're going to go over to the bottom left menu area and click on the settings for business integrations. So see that there, and go ahead and click. And yours is probably going to look quite different from mine, but these are all of my current active integrations. And you'll see that Mailchimp is here because my Mailchimp is functioning. If yours is not, you'll probably see this here. If you don't, then you can actually go in and add it, and you can do that by doing a search for Mailchimp, and then you'll be able to go in and view and edit. So I'm going to click on view and edit. It's going to open this additional screen where we can see if my Mailchimp account is active or not active. So you'll want to make sure that a lot of these things are checked. So as I scroll down, I'm giving permission from my Facebook account to Mailchimp to access these. So you'll want to make sure all of these buttons are turned on, that it's letting Mailchimp manage my business. It's giving Mailchimp access to my profile. If I wanted to also allow it access to my Instagram, because my Instagram and Facebook are connected, then you can do that. You want to give it permission to access your insights from Instagram, manage your pages, show the list of pages that you manage. You want to allow it to do that. You want to allow it to publish as any of the pages that you manage. Business integrations visibility, I have this selected to only me. I don't want other people to be able to see they don't need to see that. So that's just a setting who controls what I'm doing. And then if you need help, there is an area where you have a Mailchimp ID. And if you need to get help, then this is some information to give that help or support center some information. So if you made any changes, make sure that you save them. Changes do not automatically save or pre-populate. So once again, I just wanted to show you this business integration area as where you would see all of your active business integrations. You can see that I have several things integrated there. If you have any issues with those, you can go here to troubleshoot. If you don't have issues, I would not even worry about checking this area out unless you're just curious. Okay, so back to Mailchimp. Now that we have given Mailchimp the appropriate permissions and we've checked that all of our settings are in place, we're not quite done yet because we've just given Mailchimp and Facebook permission to communicate with each other essentially. Now, if we want to actually add in that form, we have to create it. So we're going to go to our audience, and all lists or forms are formed under specific audiences. If you're using the free version, you probably just have the one audience. If you're using a paid version, you may have multiple audiences. Most importantly, however, is that you make sure that your current audience, if you have the option, is the one that you're wanting to integrate, because you might have different audience lists. This is what Mailchimp used to refer to as lists. So pardon me for continuing to refer to it as lists. I'm just kind of used to it. But okay, so once you have your correct audience selected, we're going to manage that audience. And this is the same place that you would go to add to your audience or import some contacts. There is already pre-populated for each audience that you have. Mailchimp already designates a sign-up form for every audience. And what's cool is when we go into the forms area, there are a lot of different kinds of forms that you have the ability to integrate. So the form integrations is what we would want to do. So if we, you know what, let me back up and I'll just go through this step by step and explain what this means. So the form builder is most important. You want to make sure that there's a default form that's rather large that you can use, and I'll click on this in just a moment. But this is where you go to build and design and personalize the form that you want to use. I'll go into that setting in just a moment. Next, you have embedded forms, and these are forms that you might want to integrate to your website. And both of these are that also the subscriber pop-up form. So sometimes when you go to a website and you see that website you'll see a pop-up form where they're asking you to sign up for their list. That's where you would go to create that one, and then the form integrations. So form integrations create sign up forms using one of our integrations. I'm going to select on that because I just want to show you that it's taking you to some of the other options that you have available. So if you have, for example, a Squarespace site, or your site is using Wufoo, this is where you would go to integrate that sort of thing. So I'm going to go back to our sign up forms area because that's not something that is pertinent to what I'm doing here. But under Facebook form, if we wanted to do that, we would click on this area, and that's going to lead you to a tutorial just in case things get confusing here. This is where you would go and learn about how you can set up your email form. So if there's something that gets a little confusing about what I did, I wanted to show you how you can get to that tutorial. Okay, so back to our form builder because you should have everything in place already. We're going to go to the area that shows you how you can build your form. So the default setting of this is just called sign up form, but in this drop down you do have lots of other options there. I'm just going to leave it as the default sign up form. It's just a basic area where somebody can subscribe to an email list. And on my particular Facebook page, my email sign up list was created, and I created an automated campaign because I have the ability to do that with the paid features of my account, where when somebody signs up for this, it's automated to send a welcome email to everyone who signs up for it. So if you're watching this tutorial, feel free to test that feature out and go from a computer to my Third Coast Learning business page, fill that out, and you'll see that I do automatically send out a welcome email. Okay, so a couple other things that I want to say. There's not much that you need to change here. I wouldn't worry about letting subscribers pick their email format. There is a URL or a link that you can also share to this form. So remember how I said that this feature and functionality is only visible from if someone's looking at your Facebook page from a computer? Well, let's say you're at a vendor event and you want people to have the ability to sign up for your welcome form or to sign up for your whatever type of form you're creating here. This is where you would have what we refer to as a short link or shortened version of a really long URL that can be shared. And you can use this for, if you click Facebook, it's going to give you the ability to share this on your Facebook or Twitter. It will take you directly to the link that would share that as a post. You can also, and this is one of my favorite features, you can also create a QR code. And QR codes are something that people can use to scan from their smartphone, and it will take them directly to this form. So let me explain to you how I use the QR code in my business. Let's say that I'm at a big vendor event and I have a booth and I have a table there, and I want people who come by to visit to sign up for my email list. But remember, I know they can't access it from my Facebook page on their mobile device. What I can do is print out and what I do is just print this out. I create a nice little graphic image, and then I print this out and put it in a picture frame that I keep on the table, and I invite people to, with their phone, scan the QR code to sign up for my email list. Now I take it a step further, and I usually have some kind of a raffle or drawing or giveaway or ask people to sign up. And this is the method that I use to capture that information. What I love about it, instead of having people like do the old-fashioned way of signing up for a form, you're not having to do any sort of data entry with this. It automatically pre-populates into the information in your Mailchimp account And then you can go in and set up tags and whatnot for your list that gets created. So that's kind of a cool feature. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on how you edit the form. I'll just show you that this is what my form looks like. Notice that a lot of these categories are hidden. If I click on one of them, it gives me the ability to edit this information or remove it. Now, once it's highlighted here, if I scroll back up to this side, you can see that my categories are, some of them are hidden, or that means that they're grayed out on the page. I clicked the radio button hidden, and the reason that I didn't just delete them is because I sometimes, depending on events that I have, I'll go in and change this information, and I just want it to be easier for me. So I don't delete them, I just hide them. And that's an option that you have. Another thing that you can do if you just go to add a field, let's say that I wanted somebody to add let's say I wanted somebody to add a birth date. So if I click on birth date, it's going to add it to the bottom of my list. And now this is going to show up on my Facebook page as part of the form that they would fill out. If I decide I don't want to add this, then I can click on the negative or remove, and then there is a security feature where you have to actually type delete to delete something, kind of like the other areas of Mailchimp. So I deleted it, and I'll scroll down and you can see it's gone. So again, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details on how you customize this form. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can build it, and just by adding or removing fields, you can design it so you have the ability to change what fonts you use. You can change this image. You can change the size of it. You can add your overview information. See how if I hover over this, you can edit it. You can change the color of the background, all kinds of things that you can do in making this form customized for you. So I think that that really does cover everything. Once you have all of this information entered here, those changes do save, with the exception of the forms. You want to make sure that after you add or remove something here that you're saving that as you go. And that really does cover everything that you should need to know in order to integrate a Mailchimp form to your Facebook business page. And I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and learned a few things about creating that email form and even some other areas of Mailchimp and Facebook. As always, if you have any questions, please do reach out to me. I'm always happy to answer a quick question if I can help you, or if you feel like this was just too overwhelming and you're local here to the Coastal Bend area of South Texas, I'm happy to come sit with you and help you get this set up for your Facebook business page and your Mailchimp account. All right, you guys, until next time, thanks for watching this video. And if you utilized the features in this tutorial, please let me know and share that with me. I'd love to be able to support your small business as well. Okay, you guys, until next time, enjoy and good luck with your small business. Thanks for watching.